Here with us is Manila Times columnist Peter Wallace, along with Caliraya resort owner Struan Wallace, Hampton's residential development manager David Du, and environmentalist Mark Dia. Welcome to the Manila Times, everyone. NKS Solar One floating project is a solar farm in pre-construction in Lumban, Laguna. So my first question goes to Struan, if you could start us off. So what are the detrimental effects that you're anticipating to nearby residents like yourself, and in tourism in Caliraya?
Well, I just wanted to start off by saying first that we're not against renewable energy. If anything, we are totally for it. We just feel that the location where they want to put these floating solar farms will not only affect the residents, the locals, but also tourism and the environment. They plan to cover the main thoroughways of the lake, which means that which is where most of the bancas and the boats pass through, and this is how where the fishermen go as well, and where all of the water sports happen: the windsurfing, the kiteboarding, the canoeing, the jet skiing, all of that. So by doing this, and I believe they also have a certain distance that you cannot travel next to the solar panels. I believe it's something like 30 meters or 100 meters. I'm not totally sure, but that would basically block the whole lake, meaning we could not pass through. And I think the main thing for all of us is Caliraya is a very beautiful place. It is one of those hidden gems that is very close to Manila. It's only about 2.5 hours away. And it's beautiful. You're on top of a hill. We have our own microclimate. You have all sorts of weather. It gets cold during winter. You have migratory birds, local wildlife, fauna. It really is. And you feel like you're in a different country. It's a beautiful spot. And our worry is that by putting these solar panels, we are ruining such a beautiful place. And for what? Because we're on top of a mountain, which would make putting these panels very difficult, because they also plan to not put them all in one location, but spread throughout the lake. And that would mean different cabling that goes under, just the logistics. They'd have to build a new power plant. Whereas we think, like, why not put it in Laguna Bay, where the weather is better, the power plant is nearby, and you could concentrate all the panels in one area. It just seems like a better option. Or one of the other lakes or dams around the Philippines, which are not used as a tourist destination or as a fishing spot or a livelihood for locals.
Well, small point. If I remember rightly, we get about 1,600 hours of sunlight every year, and Laguna Lake, they get 2,500. So if you're a solar person putting up solar panels, you want as much sunlight as you can get. You obviously get a lot more just naturally being down there than being up here.
We do not, it's not sunny all the time. We get very strong winds, which should make the solar panels difficult floating. Our tide goes up and down almost daily. And when it's at its lowest, little islands pop out. That's how shallow it gets. And also we get very bad typhoons. So technically the weather is not, we just don't feel it's the best spot to be putting these solar panels.
All right, let me ask you this. Has anyone instigated a conversation with NKS Solar One? Has anyone reached out?
Well, we have been to a lot of the meetings, actually, and the presentations that they have. And even in the first meeting that we found out about and we went through, they actually, you could tell it was initial stages, and they couldn't answer a lot of the questions that we had. And then they had another meeting, and then they brought in an engineer from overseas to help answer those questions. But still, we're not 100% convinced in what they're trying to sell us.
And just another follow-up question. How much tourists do we get in Caliraya?
Monthly, there are thousands of people. In our resort alone, we have more than 1,000 per month. And for the community impact, our resort currently provides livelihood to more than 300 families in the area, and will reach about 600 families in 5 years' time. Our resort alone. And in relation to the amount of employment they can provide for the solar, it's no more than 50.
50
Because,
people.
50
Just
people,
50
yes.
people.
Because we are one of the first who installed the solar panels in our factories in the Philippines. So we know that we don't even have one person managing it. We only have cleaners that comes in every 6 months to clean. Two of
Mr.
them.
David Du of Hampton's Residential Development. So you are the manager of this residential development, right? And are you for the construction of the solar project at Caliraya or not? Because this would mean lower electricity and being independent from the national grid, from NGCP itself. So, and you mentioned you are already using solar panels in your homes. Is that correct?
In our factory in Pasig.
In your factory in Pasig. And how about in Hamptons? Are
In
you?
the Hamptons, we are opposing the installation of solar panels because it is the main element of tourism in our area. The lake and the surrounding mountains, the watershed, is the main element, a main viewpoint in our area. And the installation of solar panels will not benefit us because it's directly connected to the national grid.
Tell us what are the consequences of such project and that could be detrimental to the environment.
I think as what Struan has mentioned already, we as a group, and a lot of us are supportive of renewable energy. That is not the issue. The issue is the location of where this is going to be, where it's intended to be placed. And I think Struan and David has already mentioned quite a lot of the negatives of putting this in Caliraya. Beyond that, solar panels themselves, the current technology has quite a bit of hazardous materials. So to put them in direct contact or very close to a body of water is quite questionable. One thing to note is that floating solar is a very new technology in our region. And in fact, in the Philippines, nothing has been put up yet. Around the region, there's some in Korea, there's some in China. Even in Europe, large-scale floating solar has not really taken off. So a lot of the renewable energy developers have been holding off on this technology because there are much better places to be able to put solar panels. In Caliraya Lake itself, one of the major concerns that we have is disturbing of the bird life in particular. Caliraya is well known for being a pathway for migratory birds. Just a couple of months ago, there were quite a lot of gray herons that have been migrating. We have a lot of, in the lake, great egrets that congregate. We have Philippine ducks, Brahminy kites, different types of raptors, and quite a very rich bird life. So if you start on the construction of floating solar in a place like this, the effects on migration for the bird life is actually not known. So that's one of the major concerns that we have.
We're on a lake that can't be moved. Solar panels can go wherever they like, wherever you want to put them.
So what we want is anywhere else or in Laguna de Bay. Is that what you're suggesting?
Yeah,
Where the fishing
yeah.
beds are?
Well, we don't want to particularly recommend anywhere because we're not expert at this. We think that, you know, any sensible company will research where is the best place to put panels. Where do you get the most sunlight? Where is it close to a substation that you won't have expensive cabling to put in? There's all kinds of technical things to look at when you make a decision where to locate something like a solar panel. I don't believe this has been properly done, but it would seem not, because this is the only dam of 10 in the country, in Luzon, where it is classified. There is actually an executive order under Marcos's father classifying Caliraya as a wildlife and bird sanctuary to be protected and for tourism. No other dam is. So you could put these on any other dam and you wouldn't have the controversy that we are having here in Caliraya today, where so many lives will be affected. This would not be the case in other places. So we think that there needs to be a lot more research done by the Singaporean company as to where it should locate its panels that would be most providential to them and give them the best return on their money. As I said, we get less sunlight here because we get a lot of cloud cover. We're 286 meters above sea level, so we get more cloud here than you do elsewhere. We get more rain here than you do elsewhere. So it doesn't make good economic sense. I'm an electrical engineer, so I have some knowledge of this stuff, but mine goes back many centuries, many decades. I'm getting pretty old now, but just that one simple thing, as I mentioned to you, less sunlight. For solar panels, sunlight is everything. And much of the day, even when we have sunlight, there's some cloud. So you're getting less effective sun coming down to hit the panels. So it doesn't really make technical sense, let alone economic sense or social sense, to put these panels here when there's so many other places you could put them.
Well said, Peter. And as we've said, there's very little we know about this new technology, photovoltaic solar panels on bodies of water. But we do know its detrimental effects on wildlife and as well as tourism in Caliraya.
You should see the beautiful big white birds. I don't know what they're called. They're gorgeous, lovely big white things just flapping around in the forest. You know, there's forest surrounding the lake. All right, this is a green area. It's pristine area, and the lake. You've got to come up. Sometime you've got to be able to come.
I should come visit.
You know, it really is beautiful here. It's so peaceful and relaxing, and yet, if you cover it with panels, it loses all its attraction. Right? No one's going to want to come. You don't come to look at solar panels. Yeah. You come to look at the beauty and peacefulness of a lake, of a body of water which is glistening in the sunlight, you know, that just gives you a chance to sit down, have a cup of coffee, and gaze out at the peacefulness of the lake. That's gone. It's gone for the young people like Struan, who like to kiteboard, this incredible thing with a parachute, you know, it takes you along the lake. You can't do that if there's solar panels. You can't go water skiing. You can't go jet skiing. You can't go canoeing, which is good for your health, because you can't get past. So it doesn't make sense to do it. It's socially not wise, and I think and economically for the country, disastrous, because you will lose that tourism and the revenues that will bring, the taxes that will bring, and the employment. And that's the most important thing. So many people are going to lose jobs. The company says that it will employ 1,000 people, I believe, but that's for construction. Once the construction's finished, as David said, about 50 people at most to maintain it and clean it. And when you clean it, how do you clean it without putting chemicals into the water? That can't be good. So you end up not employing thousands of people in tourism, but 50 people to maintain solar panels on the lake. That doesn't make good sense to me at all.
All right. Thank you so much, Manila Times columnist Peter Wallace, Caliraya resort owner Struan Wallace, Hampton's residential development manager David Dew, and environmentalist Mark Dia. Thank you for your time.